what's your most disappointing team to start off the season so far?
That's a tough one. Um, the most. Let's go by conference because that's too many teams. Like, pick a conference.
Let's go Western first. I've got
Who's
my
the most
Eastern one set up.
really
Yep.
Western? Who do I feel the most disappointing in the West right now?
Who has had the most disappointing start for you in the Western Conference?
I mean, it's gonna be pretty obvious for me, but I'm gonna go the Lakers. To be honest with you,
Okay.
I think the Lakers just. I think right now there was so high of expectations for them, right? Like they were like, these guys are going to come in. They've all signed 1-year deals. Majority of these guys were 2010 All-Stars. You know, they're going to come in and then they're going to just dominate. Well, the realization is even though they're all All-Stars and even though they're veterans of a team, they still need to build some chemistry and learn each other's tendencies. And I think that, Westbrook coming in, he's my opinion on Westbrook. I mean, he's a hit or miss. Then you got LeBron missing games, by the way. Then you got AD, you got Dwight Howard. I mean, you have a lot of great pieces on that team. I think when they get it going, they're going to be a successful team. But right now, even Carmelo's on that team. But I think right now they have had the most disappointing start. I mean, they lost to OKC twice, OB. OKC is arguably the worst team in the West.
Well, LeBron was also out for both those.
But it's still you have Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook who are Hall of Famers in a top 75. Like, you still shouldn't be losing to guys like, I mean, Shane Gilgeous-Alexander, great player.
But let's be realistic about Westbrook. He's a stat stuffer. He no matter how good he plays in the past, when he was at OKC without Kevin Durant, once he became the triple double man, he got triple doubles for like half the season. I don't remember
which one.
I don't even remember which season it was, but I remember
he averaged his MVP season. He averaged a triple double the whole season.
The whole season?
The entire season.
Yeah, and how many wins did they have?
Not a lot. Yeah. That was when he was okay. That was when he was OKC doing his thing. And like I said, his numbers his rebounding stats are inflated because they would literally wait for him to get a rebound.
I would almost call Russell Westbrook a wash for the Lakers. Like, he's gonna hurt you just as much as he helps you. I would almost say he's an all-star and he'll give you points, he'll give you numbers, but he's also going to give you a lot of turnovers. I mean, the fact that he's got the most triple doubles with 10 turnovers, that's in NBA history. He's got 8, I think, right now, where he's had a triple double with 10 turnovers. And then the next one behind him, I think, is James Harden with 3, and then there's 8 people tied with 1.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
then also, I like to put it like this: the Lakers literally looked around the league and went, "Who was an all-star between 2011 to 2014, and are they available?"
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the Lakers are. I think when they get their stride going, they're going to be a top 5 team in the West. But they're
top 5 right now.
Yeah, well, season just started, but they're in my opinion they're the most disappointing. Now in the West, the most surprising team I would say right now is Golden State. I think Golden State. Oh my gosh! I mean, the pieces that they've picked up and that have adapted without Klay Thompson in the mix, they're really, really good. I mean, you got Draymond, of course, he's going to do his thing. Steph Curry, best shooter ever.
Yeah, Draymond's looking healthy this year too. He's looking like the hip's not bothering him anymore.
Yeah,
he looks like he's lost weight.
They really surprised me because you got guys like Jordan Poole who have been insane starting in place of Klay Thompson. And who's that guy they picked up? He's hurt. Not Winslow, the other guy. I don't know. They picked him up. He was a second pick, but he's hurt right now, and once he gets going, that starting 5 is good. Andrew Wiggins is playing really well for them. So I would say
Wiggins found his spot.
I think Golden State is the most surprising team for me out of the West. What about would you agree?
I would say definitely Golden State most surprising, but I would say the Nuggets have probably been my most disappointing team in the West right now. I mean, they don't have Murray still, but they played a lot of last season without him. So they should already have a good game plan chemistry. Jokic went out against the Jazz and they were looking really good that game. Like, I take that loss. But the fact that you're 4-4, I mean, not even who have their
Well,
games
you mean
been
if you look,
against?
well, even with that being said, I mean they just extended Michael Carter Jr.'s Michael Porter Jr.'s contract,
Yep.
and he is supposed to be this lethal weapon off the bench, and his numbers have increasingly declined since he's started this season. I mean, the Nuggets just, you're right. I think I can agree with you with that. The Nuggets are just, I don't know what they're doing. I
I
mean,
mean, they lost to the Grizzlies twice.
it's bad.
Hang on. Is that preseason? No, November 3rd. So they lost to the Grizzlies 2 days ago. They lost to them on the 1st. They barely beat the Timberwolves, which they should be outplaying the Timberwolves.
Timberwolves.
They
Ugh.
lost to the Jazz, which Jokic went down and he was killing it that game. They lost to the Cavs, who, I mean, they should be outplaying the Cavs. Cavs are a young team that I think are playing a lot better than they should be.
Yeah, for sure. The Evan Mobley guy is playing out of his mind right now. I think Evan Mobley's a great pickup for them in the draft. I mean, they're good. You know, the Cavs are young and they're just trying to find their niche in the East. But the Nuggets got to get it together. I think when Jamal Murray gets back, they'll be good.
You lose to the Grizzlies twice. I mean, Grizzlies
are a sleeper team, though. Grizzlies are a sleeper team in the West. John Moran ain't messing around.
I mean, Ja's really playing out of his mind. Culver's been playing good. You have Tyus Jones. I mean, you've got good players there, but
they got Steven Adams too. Don't forget about Steven Adams.
Steven Adams, I think, is really what has boosted them this year. Gives another rebounder and a good person that's really good at setting screens for Ja Morant to really get to the basket. But man, the Nuggets just I had so much more expectations for them this year.
Well, it ain't over. It ain't over yet, man. The season just started, but you're right, just a start. And then switching gears to the East, I would say the most surprising team that I've seen come out of the East has been the Wizards, to be honest with you, man. That's my opinion. The Wizards coming in, everyone's like, oh, how are they going to gel? Kuzma played like crap when he was with LA. Montrezl Harrell is used to being a six man. You got Spencer Dinwiddie coming off an injury. You got Bradley Beal that's willing to stay, which kudos to him for grinding out and sticking with the process. But they have done a really good job on that team. They have a really great starting five, very underrated starting five that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. You got Spencer Dinwiddie at the 1. You got Bradley Beal to 2. You got Hachimura still out, right? I think he's still out. So he might be or he might not or not. But he's a starting 3 in that team as well. You got Montrezl Harrell and Kyle Kuzma. I mean, that's a solid starting 5 right there in the East. And they're both young and veteran. So with that being said, I think the Wizards are a real shock. I mean, I still think after everything they're the top 17, but another team that's really surprised me, which I don't know why they are, but they do, but is the Miami Heat. Miami Heat, I didn't think how Kyle Lowry was going to come in and gel with that team, but I realized, dude, they have a phenomenal bench. They have a great coach. I think Spoelstra's a phenomenal coach. He's been there forever. And then they're just an overall great team. Bam Adebayo is an all-star. You got Jimmy Butler, arguably a top 3 two-way player in the league still. Kyle Lowry is a veteran point guard. You got Tyler Hero off the bench. You got Duncan Robinson shooting. I mean, they're right now, they're a top 3 team in the East, hands down. They're arguably the best team in the East right now. Honestly, they are.
Yep. And they're at a 6-2 record right now. They've lost to only a couple teams. So, well, who have they lost to so far?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
They've lost. Ooh. They lost to the Celtics yesterday, which the Celtics, after Marcus Smart got on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, probably got them going.
Good.
And then the only other team that they have lost to so far this year was the Pacers. So really, like, odd teams. The Pacers is an oddball team to lose.
They are.
But that was
the Pacers are not bad.
That was an
Pacers are a sleeper team. I think Pacers are. I would say the top sleeper teams in the East right now would be them. would be the Pacers and the Hornets. I think the Hornets are a sleeper team right now. We haven't touched on the Charlotte Hornets, but they're young and or veteran with like Gordon Hayward, and Miles Bridges is really stepping out of his shell right now. So that's another sleeper team. To be quite honest, overall, we talked about it the last couple of years. The East is kind of like, oh, they stink. But East is not messing around anymore.
I think
They
the
are.
East has finally
Yeah.
taken over. I think most of the East teams are better than most of the West teams now.
Oh yeah, for how they started out.
I
Yeah,
think it has really flip flopped in the past year and a half or 2 years, where the East is just a lot of teams are just cranking, and they're playing. The teams that are playing well, they're playing really well.
Yeah, and the teams in the West that are supposed to be playing well are not. We forgot about a big team, OB, and that's the Portland Trailblazers. And it's looking pretty obvious right now that Damian Lillard might want out of there. I don't know why, but I just feel like his stats are not there. And I think his time is done there. Honestly, like Portland should be playing a lot better than what they're looking right now. I mean, he has all the pieces. You have all the pieces. You got McConnell. You got what's his name? The big dude down low that was hurt last year. LeBron dunked on him so bad. Nurkic. They have him. They got some great pieces over there in Portland. And they got Robert Covington, who's a great two-way player. I mean, I don't see the problem with Portland. They're just not playing to their potential, to be honest with you.
I mean, if you're looking at Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard has put a lot of miles going in, and he's already gonna be 31. He's 31 right now. He's been playing a lot of hero ball in Portland. He might just be in the limit where he needs another true all-star on that team.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
McCollum's not an all-star. Any other team in the league, if he was there, he'd be an all-star, hands down. He's just not. He's sharing the hero-ness with Damian Lillard, and that's what it is. But another team too that I just thought of that has kind of surprised me is the Clippers. The Clippers, we expect the Clippers to be good, and I think that Paul George is picking up and being that dominant player like he was when he was with the Pacers, and he's holding the fort down until Kawhi Leonard gets back. Because I'll tell you right now, when Kawhi gets back, the Clippers are going to be in my opinion, if they're fully healthy, they're the best team in the West. Personally, and I'm not being biased because I love Kawhi Leonard, but they have every piece on that team. OB, they have everything. When him and Serge Ibaka come back, and you add Terrence Mann to that equation, you add Reggie Jackson, they have so many great guys off the bench. Even that some young guys that they had in the summer league that they've brought up, their whole team is just stacked. To be honest with you, I mean, look at their roster. I mean, they're killing it right now. Paul George is averaging the most points in the NBA right now. He's picking up the slack for with Kawhi being out. But when Kawhi and Serge Ibaka get back healthy, it's a very deadly team in the West. And I think that, to be quite honest with you, my late prediction, it's going to be the Bucks and the Clippers again. Well, not again, but it's going to be the Bucks and the Clippers in the final, honestly, because I don't see the Phoenix Suns doing what they did last year, to be honest with you. Even with signing Chris Paul to that extension, they picked up nobody. They picked up Landry Shamet and they picked up JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
Those are not key guys that are going to get you out of the West, even with the West playing as crappy as they are.
Thank you for watching this episode of Coach Mike and OB. Full episodes of this podcast will be released every Monday, and segments such as this will be released every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.